Hello and welcome to a new session that we're going to have today on test automation. It's a very incredible topic right now, and the way market is pacing towards the digital transformation, the way we look into it. Uh, this is going to be the next high profile project every organization has to take things up, and in that process, if you understand the way ecosystem is molding and getting uh, pulled towards the digital transformation, so there is a lot of digital adoption that is happening, including the cloud or movement into of your on-premise applications into the cloud, and the way ERP itself is changing its own structure and the culture. It's important to understand that the way the SaaS-based culture is coming in, you as an organization, you will be in a position to identify what best suits you rather than picking up the complete ERP as single uh, a single application. So you will be able to pick and choose multiple applications and uh, basis of your uh, processes as they demand. So having said that, this is what the digital transformation is, where you are adopting the digital side of it into your processes. Trust me, it doesn't change anything from your processes, though you will find a lot of uh, cost optimization and the new ways and means of reducing the cost. Uh, the way I talk about the ERP is, but you have to accustom yourself into more agile and fast pace yourself. Just so instead of speaking a lot, I just wanted to share some a use case or a case study of one of our customer who went live. Let me share my screen. So this is an interesting case study that we are actually working upon. We actually have worked upon where multiple this customer has multiple trading, manufacturing, and assembly plants across the globe, and they are moving into the SaaS-based environment with with ERP and the HCM. HCM is Human Capital Management, and the way you ERP sounds is, I'll tell you what exactly ERP is like. This is a typical customer. I'll say like, has a big, huge landscape of manufacturing where they have those warehousing, inventory operations, logistics, supply chain operations, finance, which is more consolidated at the head office. Projects, they do turnkey projects, obviously as a part of intake and the outgoing part, like they have order management, procurement. A lot of taxation localizations come in play because of multiple countries that are there. Then the product configurator comes in play because they are more into the configure to product mode as well. So product configurator is at the end of the product. CRM comes in where the customer, the business partner, customer tracking of their movement and the likes, dislikes of the customer is tracked. HCM, the employee part, PLM, the product life cycle, and of course the workforce monitoring the time and the attendance management and everything. So this is a typical customer where they have you will see a lot of uh, modules as well as products being integrated and implemented, and this is where interesting part comes in. All these were on premise, now everything is on cloud. Now cloud, which is actually managed and monitored and offered as a SaaS by the customer, by an OEM. It can be any of the OEMs as on date. For me, doesn't matter whether it's SAP, Oracle, Infor, or for that matter NetSuite or the other ones. But having said that, there is a transition, there is a cultural transition that has happened where all this file was well maintained in the on-premise, and just because the whole world is moving, as well as the cost realization, as well as the risk part of it, the customer decided to move on the cloud, as well as the globalization, the other benefits of the cloud comes into play. So now the interesting and the quick part I just wanted to touch base upon is, uh, when you say a SaaS-based cloud maintained by by an external OEM, what they intend to do is like they offer you a multi-tenant environment where which is maintained, which is offered as a service to multiple customers, shared across multiple customers with security about the data. So there are monthly patches that come in from overall all the customers for all the products. So say from the ERP, possibly like globally, say their 10,000 or a lakh customers, they have published different issues and the defects have been solved, or maybe on the HCM part or the PLM part or the other products that the solutions come in. Now all these solutions are bundled with respect to the each product and actually are created as a patch and released onto the cloud, because this is how the OEM manages the ERP. Now the whole story starts from here, where there are all lot of defects or the issues that have been resolved. Now you are not sure that which defect applies to you, so they publish to you a release note along with the list of all the defects that have been solved. So on an average, if I say this is 800 defects that have been solved per month globally, and this is what the bundle that OEM has decided to publish or push it into the cloud suite. And in this part, this happens monthly. The important part, important uh, word that we need to look into, understand is monthly. And so, and what happens is they give you a time of a month where within that period of time you need to work on that patch, work on the analyze those defects, and make sure that your processes, the way they are mapped, they are not it doesn't create any interference with those processes. So you have to test your processes within that month time, looking at all the defects, majorly like module wise, where all they're impacting. You need to go all these regression testing, the integration testing, as well as the functional testing, including the part like if at all you have built some customizations, that part also has to be looked into. As well as there are some new functionalities and updates, integrations, say third party applications are there, say you have Salesforce or some other products that you have in your ecosystem, through which the so you have to look into the part is your business process is not just one product, but it actually scales across multiple products, and that's how the dots are connected and your processes are run. So this is where the big challenge comes in monthly patch. And the important part here is these, if you look at the velocity, 800 defects is a minimum benchmark, like minimum part that I have noticed personally. And it scales up to 3,000 to 4,000 that I have seen and looked into, like basis of the bigger products that you have in uh, in your business processes. And that's where you have to look into that. Can you match this space, this high velocity? Can you match this space? Say, how will you match? How will you ensure your processes are intact? So, if further to that, like in this case of my particular customer, what happened is since they are global, as well as site level. So there is a global level of monitoring of different processes, like in the finance part of it, versus there is a site level, different logistics and different freight related processes are there. So including overall what we identified some critical processes that we worked upon, and we identified some, say, hire to retire. So I'm talking more from the regression standpoint. Hire to retire 4 scenarios came in, record to report 9 scenarios, configure to order where your PCF or the CPQ might come in, like 16 scenarios came in because basis of the number of models they are utilizing. Assemble to order basis of like what kind of site it is, whether it's a manufacturing or it's assembly, or so there are multiple assembly orders, and where primarily like there are a lot of subcontracting also being done. Order to cash, obviously that's where the revenue stream comes in, as well as procure to pay. So there are what we found is majorly the critical processes are, these are the old processes where up and down, like you have a lot of impact from the finance side also. You have to see, say, the product costing, the materials, the availability, and all and everything. So these are the scenarios that have been, I'm saying, I'm just trying to explain to you like how you should be able to relate to this. Now these are the critical ones, apart from which actually were accounting to close to like 50-55% of their overall processes, and remaining 45% big and small, there are other scenarios also. So having said that, with respect to, and the interesting part that we need to look into is like these processes are not standard. They are like, there are some customizations, there are some configurations, some extensions, all these things are built into it. Now you need to sit down and make sure that all these scenarios are executed, and then make sure like the input that you give and the outcome that you anticipate, they are matching. So in a ERP, if you understand, it's not about. There is another interesting part that I want to bring over here is when I say testing, how do you perceive that testing? Is it a IT initiative or is it a business initiative? So if as a business you want to ensure, then you will say that, hey, my business processes should be mapped properly. As an IT initiative, it's more or less like ensuring that the product is working as per the expected functionality. End of it, both of it are driven more from the data standpoint. So that's where the value comes in if we are able to execute these things faster. So and we are able to identify faster. So the approach of fail faster comes in as early as possible. If you can identify these things, identify whether it's a standard or into the custom part of it, you can work on that firefighting mode and start at fixing them. So this is where, interestingly, we have come up. Sailotech has come up with the Test Ensure platform, where this is very interesting platform which actually is built for ERP, and it actually works on primarily targeting the release cycles of the ERPs. So it includes the test requirement management. It's very low code test library because we have try to put as much as possible the reusability into it, as well as the part here is it's very agile and DevOps enabled, because we don't want to waste time on the technical side of it, more focus on the business process side. Simultaneously we can do multiple parallel testing also, like, which is again scalable. It has to be, because all your sites have to be tested for the for their functionality. A lot of traceability and dashboards are available. Analytics are there, where it actually give you a lot of insights about where exactly you should be stressing, where exactly you should be pushing your uh, uh, like when you work on these identified problems, like where exactly you should be looking at uh, focusing on. So as well as this tagging and reruns can be done. Interestingly, immediate benefits. Obviously, these are all common ones for any test automation. But on the ERP side, these are the ones which actually we should be looking for. Like, so the tagging part, smaller code changes, where system should be in a position to identify and accustom and tune itself to accommodate those smaller code changes. Fault isolations can be done very fast. We should be able to pinpoint where exactly the problem is, rather than just saying that, like, hey, this process has, or maybe this program has a problem. We should be able to get to the fault isolation part. Reliability, reduction in the cost, and the smaller backlogs. So overall, what I'll say is, this is where you should be investing upon, and this is where you have to look into. And I'll say, I have seen a lot of platforms, and this is where like our experience comes in. We have seen a lot of platforms where they talk about low code, no code. I'll say don't fall. They're very interesting platforms, but they are more primarily looking forward and focusing on the part where they treat your ERP as a product, not as a business process execution platform, right? So when it's a business process which is data centric, it has to be something which is owned by you. At least like when everything goes on cloud and you find that everything is managed over there, there is always a question mark that comes in, is that what exactly, how exactly I ensure that my system, my processes are running. So you need to own this particular platform which is built for ERP, and ensure that, which will all the time keep tracking at a click of a button, like once these scenarios are available, that you have you can always focus on your processes on your operations than focusing on the on availability of a platform or this thing. Anything, anytime you feel like you have a requirement, you have understanding on this thing, please mail us at marcom@salutech.com or leave us a message at our website www.salutech.com. We will be very much immediately there will be a response, and this is where we talk about this is where we can always get into a small POC, and we can always show you the quick realization of how immediately and fast we can adopt and we can get into the other side of it. It's not a rocket science to build to do a test automation. It's important that this is done. See, there are two ways of looking at it. If you think test automation as a testing platform, the test engineers have to learn the functionality, which is a little tough. Rather, I'll say if you think it's a business process execution testing platform, then it's more of like your functional guys should be enabled with the toolkit where a test automation is a part of it, where you can the click of a button they can execute, look into the reports, look into the data findings, and be more confident about it. So I'll say when overall, if I just try to summarize and put together, it actually turns down to the level of saying like you are more satisfied with what you have done, what you have with respect to your transformation. You can more focus on the next level of your adoption of the digital part of it, as well as you are more risk wise also you are very much covered because you have your own gatekeeper which actually is always available and testing your platform. That's the thing. Anything you have, please do message us. We will be very eager at to respond to your questions, and uh, that's the thing for today. Thank you.